The Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. It's a jam for the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam.
Hold it, stop the music!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen!
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Can I please have your attention?
Now showtime, are you ready? Are you ready for start time?
Let's find out. Ready, let's go.
Aloha Ecamm fam, welcome to the showgram. People, it is time for another really cool masterclass where we find softwares that we think that you're going to love and might make your job a heck of a lot easier. And then we find somebody that works there to come and tell us about it, because that way we don't have to tell you stuff and it's absolutely wrong. No, actually, this is a really cool tool that I ran into during one of my Final Cut Pro Global Summit conference thingies where I'm teaching how to do stuff in Ecamm and Final Cut. And during the time that I did my session, there was a lot of noise coming out the other room. And I was like, I don't know who's in that room, but he got people hyped. And then I go look at the sign and it was Matt. And I was like, Matt, you made everybody skip my class to go to your class. So I wanted to see what the heck all the noise was about. And it was Alteon Cloud. And I really want you guys to check this out, because a lot of us are expanding our teams and doing all myriad things. And then here, let me add Bella to the mix. Dun, 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 dun. Ba, ba, ba. So a lot of us are expanding our teams and looking for ways to improve our process. And so, well, here we go. So first of all, let's bring on Matt and say good morning. Hello, Matt.
Hi, good morning. Aloha.
Good to see you. All right.
And should I say sorry? I'm not sorry for taking all of the people from your class.
No, you're good. You're absolutely good. It was just loud over there, and I was like, what the heck are you guys doing back there? It must be cool. He must be showing people how to, like, remove people that you didn't want in your video out of the video or something. It was close. It wasn't exactly that, but it was pretty close as far as coolness goes. Tell everyone a little bit about Alteon. What I'm gonna do, people, just so you know, you know me, I like to tell you guys everything that I'm doing in the background so you don't freak out when it's your turn. This is my scene setup here. You see that I have myself and Matt, and then I have Bella hanging out in the background. What I'm going to do, in the time that Matt tells you everything he's going to tell you, I'm going to make another scene to include Bella. Watch this. That's how fast we work. Okay, go.
It's all right. No, so I think that it really kind of stems back from the background of my life and where I started from. And 20 years ago, creating a production company in an era when really we're seeing a huge shift into digital or nonlinear editing, I should say. And so I was very fortunate to be at the sort of front seat or the front row of all of this happening. And this is before social media existed, before we were shooting on digital memory cards. I remember at the time buying, I think it was 8 gigabyte drives from Avid that were just thousands of dollars. And you know, I think about it now and it's like, okay, so what is this? You know, it's only it's a couple gigabytes on there alone, or I'm sorry, yeah, so hundreds of gigabytes, I should say. So seeing this and being an editor first and building a production company over the last 2 decades, again, gave me this opportunity to really think about what was next in my life. So I built a production company and I was very successful at that. And I was able to exit about 6 or 7 years ago from that business. And it really gave me an opportunity to think about what was next and how can I help content creators. So about 4.5 years ago now, before pandemic happened or before COVID was a word, it was something that I knew genuinely in my heart that I wanted to help all content creators or my peers, and building from the wealth of knowledge that I've been able to build over the last 2 decades, and have a platform that was really a creative ecosystem, a place where I could store all my content, a place where I can collaborate with other people, a place where I knew that I wouldn't have to constantly be buying new hard drives every month because I had another project coming on. So it was kind of a mix of all of these different thought processes, and then that's what really kind of became the general thesis behind Alteon. And to its core, I built on the knowledge from what I call the one percenters, so the Disneys of the world, the Warner Brothers, the broadcast networks, and all of the information that I had when I did a lot of research and looking at their content management systems and how they were consuming media and organizing media and sharing media with even freelancers. And there wasn't anything that existed for the mainstream audience, so the 99% of the world that existed out there. So again, leveraging all of this knowledge, and then also my background of being an editor and running a production company, that's really where the genesis of Alteon.io came in. And I'm really fortunate that we're hearing from all kinds of users right now, and we just won Product of the Year at NAB last month, which we're super excited about, because it just shows that there's a massive shift in the industry coming, and people are starting to adopt SaaS-like solutions. And I always kind of give the analogy of, why build an email server today when I could just sign up for Gmail or Office 365, and that's $6 a month? That's the same mentality that I went and put into Alteon when I built this platform. And it's really kind of to the core, an easy, simple solution to get into, but it's also secure, and it's very cost effective.
That is really cool. Like, and again, so I like how you made the analogy to Gmail as far as ubiquity goes, because I think that makes a very important point. All right, so I have tested out some of the other tools that kind of sort of fall into space. I don't want to say they're the same because I feel they're different, just from, quick looks around and playing around in the background and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. I don't think they're exactly the same. I think you guys do stuff that's a little bit different. But thinking of it from a ubiquity standpoint, like Gmail, can you explain like how someone who has never thought they needed a tool like this, what would you say to them that might help open up their eyes to something like this?
Yeah, I mean, look, I always say that there's a lot of really great single purpose apps that exist out there. We're all using all of these different tools that do one purpose, or they do one thing. And really, to the core, Alteon encompasses all of these tools into one ecosystem. And if we're building them, that's one side of the equation. But really, we're looking to open up to partnerships with other companies that might have these single purpose tools that we're using in the creative industry every day, and bringing that under one unified UI. So there's a lot of contextual switching that happens, or edit fatigue, as I like to call it.
Yes.
I used to go and use 5 or 6 or 7 different applications just to do my job, when really, to the core, I should be focusing on the craft, or I should be focusing on telling a story, not, hey, where did I store this file, or what is that app that I'm using to do blank, right? That should just be natural. And a lot of the users that are on Alteon, that's the biggest feedback that they give us, is that it feels really natural. It feels really intuitive. The fact that we have built-in applications for a workflow extension for both Final Cut Pro and Adobe Premiere Pro, when we built those applications, we worked directly with the different companies, whether it was Apple or Adobe, and we actually built our application using their UI kits. So it feels native to the user, we didn't want to prescribe something to the users that was Alteon specific branding or that looked very different from the application that they were in, because already there's enough mind activity that's going on there just to tell the story. So again, that's one of the bigger things. But I would say another element is just getting content into the cloud. So we have high-speed transfer mechanisms there. We also have the ability to transcode in the cloud. And we built our own proprietary transcoder. And this year, we are announcing, or we announced at NAB, that we will be supporting Apple ProRes RAW sometime later this summer. And then we're looking to support ARRI RAW and Red RAW in the cloud. So this means that from a transcoding mechanism, you can actually upload those files, no longer have to worry about your dedicated workstation that is basically, taken down for days depending on the resolution or the amount of files that you have. And you're able to actually transcode that footage in the cloud, leveraging a horizontal approach of encoding or transcoding that footage, not having it linear. So I'm not depending on file A getting transcoded and then B and then C and D as I would on my local system. It's now simultaneously being done in the cloud. And right now we do support Blackmagic RAW, and we're one of the only cloud companies that can do that.
Wow, Blackmagic RAW. That's a big one. That's one that gets a lot of people sort of messed up. Okay, gang, you guys will see how good I did this on the fly. It ought to be a lot of fun and interest. Let's swing this over. Are we going to say hello to Bella? I have one more tweak adjustment just because I'm Doc and I always tweak on these things. Don't freak out, people. It's almost there. Here we go. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, Bella.
There she is.
Hello.
There you are. Here, let me put these back. There you go. Okay. Bella, do you have a set of headphones?
I don't have them on me right now. I can go
So
grab
we can mute Bella for a bit.
Yeah, there we go. Because that way, because what happens is when you don't, I don't. Oh, so we do have a feature that does this thing called echo cancellation, right? And what that does is it does make it so that you would be able to use it without your headphones. But I don't use that because it messes with the sound. And I'm like Matt. I'm a production nerd. I like my sound to be good. I'm weirdo. Okay, so
I'm old school and I go corded headphones.
See, these are you know why? Because they never fail. Every time I bring out my quote unquote cordless headphones and I'm ready, I plop down on the couch. I'm gonna watch another episode of Mandalorian and not disturb anyone in the house, and the battery is dead. Yep. I'm like, dang it. So luckily now these things fast charge, so you can get, while you make a cup of coffee or something, it will give you enough to watch a show. But yeah, it's kind of irritating. Okay, so let's talk about this. Can you give a brief rundown of how someone would go about using Alteon?
Yeah, I think a really good example is just capturing something on iPhone. So something as simple as that, which should be very easily done. So I'm in New York today. Bella happens to be in Burbank at our office there. And what's really great is I could shoot something on iPhone somewhere in New York right now, upload it using our native app, and Bella doesn't even have to go to the website. She could actually go directly into Final Cut Pro and start seeing these files pop up within her edit suite as they're hitting the cloud. So that's a really cool, just streamlined function there. But let's put another element into this equation. So let's say that you're in Hawaii, right?
Yes.
I would upload my files to Alteon. It would create an item structure, which means that we're generating a proxy and we have the original clip always maintained. So we never do anything to harm the original file there. You want to add some comments to that clip. So, hey, Bella, start the edit here, end the edit here, or I really like this soundbite, or I really like this shot. So whatever those soundbites are, or the comments that you're making, and then also meta tags, right? You want to add some tags to these files to streamline the process for Bella. Now, Bella can natively start seeing all of this happen behind the scenes in her edit suite as she's going about her day. So again, contextually switching back and forth, she doesn't have to go to the website. She has everything neatly compiled right within Final Cut Pro. And that's where we're seeing a lot of really big success with our users, is they're not having to switch back and forth constantly between websites or applications outside of their native environment that they're working in.
Yeah, that makes sense because one of the things that does happen when you go back and forth between different environments is you start to just generate a confusion for yourself or just make gigantic mistakes that you otherwise wouldn't make. I mean, I run into that because I still do some woodworking there and I have a CNC and I have to go back and forth between Mac and PC all the time. And you're just always pressing the wrong freaking extra key. You got to add your Alt key versus your Command key, or your Option key versus the Alt key, and it's like, look. I just need to just do this. So yes, I can fully understand that. Now, you just said something that completely messed me up. Like I've been thinking of it from a production standpoint in the sense of sticking things in it from my computer. I never even thought about the fact that we're collecting assets with our phone, which is something that we do all the time. So that's pretty impressive in and of itself. Now, of course, we had our first sort of introduction to Alteon during the Final Cut Pro Global Summit. For those of us using Final Cut, what does that tie-in look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's a free extension that you can download off of the Apple App Store or the Mac OS Store. And again, it just directly integrates right within Final Cut Pro. It's super easy to use. You just use your Alteon login to log into it, and you immediately see access to all of your different projects that you're working on, either on your own or groups that you're belonging to. So let's say I belong to a production company and they hired me to do a lot of work, and I'm part of their group infrastructure. So meaning they're paying for storage within that organization structure. I would have access to those projects natively within Final Cut Pro without having to do another login or download all the files on the website and then bring them to my scratch disk and then bring them into Final Cut Pro. It's just one click. So when I'm downloading my content into Final Cut, I actually just push one button. It automatically saves it to the disk that's predetermined based on that project, and then it's inside the project immediately. So there's no third or fourth buttons that I have to push in order to import that content.
Man, that's really cool. That's really cool. All right, so one other thought that just came to mind, thanks to David. David is questioning, says, I just had a thought about doing this with Final Cut Pro because, Final Cut Pro is coming to the iPad. In a way, one of the things that just melted everyone is right now, Apple says that we're not going to be able to use external SSDs. But if Alteon is cloud-based, even from something like going to a web browser, I would be able to pull the files back down, correct?
Well, funny that he brings this question up. So we already support iOS.
Correct.
And we have a native iOS application.
You said that. Now
So
that I
you
think
could
about it, yes.
So you could imagine a world where you might be able to open up Alteon on top of your iPad in the very short future.
Oh, there we go.
So that whole workflow happens. And I think one of the bigger things that you have to think about from an iPad user's perspective is I have limited space on my iPad. And again, as he pointed out, no external SSDs. So that means that if I want to maybe bring in a proxy file that was generated from Alteon in the cloud, I can go and edit that entire proxy edit inside of Final Cut Pro iPad, and then go sit down at my desktop that has all the original content that I downloaded using the Alteon app on my desktop. And now I have the ability to edit somewhere in a coffee shop without having a bunch of hard drives attached to my iPad. I'm just editing off of those proxies, right? They're megabytes as opposed to gigabytes for the file sizes. I think we're seeing like a 1/10 size reduction on files, depending on what you're working with. But that workflow itself is very easily done. And you might see something happen soon from an announcement from our side.
Well, hold on. You just said something that just I don't know why I never thought of this all of this time. Because you can generate proxies in the cloud. Okay, so let's back this up a minute, just in case there's somebody in the audience that doesn't really understand a proxy file. So today, guys, when we get finished with this particular recording, as you know, because of ISO recordings, I'm going to have a file, video and audio file, and a muxed file, which is video audio together, of myself. I'm going to have a video file of Matt, and I'll have a video file of Bella. If I wanted to chop something up for, say, a YouTube short or an Instagram reel, it's actually better for me to use the individual files and reframe it because all three of us aren't going to fit in the short, right? I can take one of us at a time and flip back and forth between those cuts. So I want to be able to edit that, even in something as rudimentary as CapCut or what's the other one? InShot, or God forbid, iMovie. I don't know why Apple should just sunset that program. Anyway, in I would be able to take a proxy file that is generated in the cloud with Alteon and bring it back to my iPad. Because the individual files might be, say, 3 gigs a piece. But in theory, with Alteon, we're looking at like sub 500 megs a piece, which is tiny.
You're probably talking tens of megs, 20s of megs.
Oh,
like
even
like we're
better.
talking
Even better.
really small.
Okay,
It's
and
a
because
720
we're
it's a
taking it,
720p HD compressed H.265 file.
there we go. Okay, which is fine. Normally, you guys might say, well, 720p, that's bad. No, we're going to the phone, right? When we go to stick these together in a phone.
And by the way, that doesn't have to be your final output, right?
Right.
You can upgrade it. So it's almost thinking about this from a different perspective as we're explaining it. Offline, online edits, right? So I'm going to date myself here and talk about the fact that when I used to do an offline edit, I would capture at a 10-to-1 ratio. Okay, so I'm super compressed, real grainy. I would capture hours and hours and hours of footage on a multiple gigabyte hard drive. Okay, that meant that multiple gigabyte hard drive might only have 1 hour of 1-to-1 compression ratio allotted to it. So when I was done with my edit, my offline, I'd wipe that hard drive. Those were always the most nerve-wracking days. And then I'd go redig at a 1-to-1 ratio, a conformed edit sequence. So now my online edit, which has all of the highest resolution media available to it, is pristine. So think about it in that perspective, right? I'm doing my offline edit on iPad using Proxies, so a low-res compressed version. And then I bring that high-res version online in my desktop that might have a RAID attached to it or some sort of NVMe drives that have multiple terabytes to them. So now I'm able to really kind of leverage the power of multiple systems that I have at my disposal in a very streamlined workflow.
It's crazy. It's crazy. If you think, when you said you're about to date yourself, I thought you were going to take it back to like when I had the offline edit. It meant like using these tapes. To move things around, and then based off of an EDL, recapture it with the better.
That's what I'm referring to. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm referring to. Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a pain in the butt, and all you needed was like one time code to be crooked, and everything went sideways. Oh man, it was obnoxious.
Bella doesn't know how lucky she has it.
Right? I'm like,
she started in the industry at a very different time.
Yeah, legit, completely a much better time. And what's incredible, as you're saying, is I can also use the same information to generate files for YouTube at a high res, for Instagram at a different res, even different aspect ratio, and then again differently for promotional clips or podcast clips or advertisements, something for LinkedIn, whatever. You can do them. You're not really stuck to single res. And again, we're able to do the proxies in the cloud thing. I just blew my mind. Like, that's really incredible. It feels like a scene from Back to the Future where they
So
bring out
so
Drake
I
the
hope
pizza.
I hope I answered your the question from the last one.
Yeah, yeah, because that makes total sense now, right? If I'm able to bring these in, have the proxies generated in the cloud. So proxies, people, again, just a reminder, are smaller versions of your original file. They're going to compress it, and normally in the past, you would take a quality hit. I mean, a massive quality hit when you go to proxies, but we didn't care. We were just using them for timing. But now proxies are getting pretty good. When I shoot on my camera, I actually shoot both regular and proxies at the same time because for stuff that I'm gonna send on social media, I just deliver the proxy. They don't even look bad anymore. Most of them are good, and no one knows. They goes, "Oh, these reels look really good." This is half the time it's just a proxy. So it's kind of amazing that you can get away with that when you're dealing with the small window screen. All right, so you say something in your site like for creatives by creatives. And you kind of touched that on a little bit, but I just want to make sure that people don't feel that they need an entire production house to take advantage of a really cool software like this.
Well, I mean, Bella can speak for this too on her
Here, all
own.
right,
On
Bella,
what
you're going to get unreleased. Dun, 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 dun. Wait,
in the level of she does productions, I do productions.
here we go. All right, Bella, you're on.
All right, Bella, you're on.
Yeah, just for like my own side projects on the side, I've been learning so much with Alteon. I'm fairly new to editing, and it's been a great way to immerse myself in like cloud-based storage and editing. Between the two, that link has been a massive, massive help and discovery in learning how to edit.
I
I'm
think
gonna
this is
I'm
cool.
gonna have you mute yourself, Bella, because I would add one more thing to your question, right? It's everyone from
Everyone from
independent creators all the way up to we're now talking to some broadcast networks on using Alteon. So when you think about the process of getting onto a platform like this and building an ecosystem, it's really that aspect of I've got a project today. I need a solution right now. I can't wait a month or 2 months or 3 months to get something up and running, and it cost me a fortune to do it. And then once I get it done, it doesn't really work, or I have to maintain it in some structure. So when you
Right.
think about Alteon, it's the off the rack solution. It's the ability to have something up and running right now when you sign into it. You can collaborate with people immediately the second that you start uploading files to the platform. And then better yet, we have different storage tiers. So you could almost gamify our platform on how much you're paying. Or going back to the thing that you said before, buy creatives for creatives. I know that there were months with my production company that I was flush with projects. And then there were other months that we were completely dry. Well, if you're having to buy storage or you're having to own servers or have content management system subscriptions that cost you thousands of dollars a month and you have no work next month, that's going to crush you. But with Alteon, you can really shift your media around from one storage class to another storage class. And it's easily done by one click. And you have no fear of thinking about, okay, well, have I bought the right storage, or have I put it in the right bucket, or have I done the right thing with it? It's all one click and it just happens. And the beauty of what we do with Alteon is that you always have viewable content. So you always know what the clips are, even if it's in a deep cold or archive. You always have access to the metadata, and you always have access to the comments on all of the items. So that's something really unique when you think about deep archive systems. Like if you were storing files on Glacier, you would not be able to see any of those files. You would not have access to any of those files. There's no layer in between you and the deep storage archive. So now having access to that, you can say, oh, well, there's that one clip that I needed, or that one item that I needed from a particular production. I'm only going to bring that one thing back online. And that's going to really give you that ability. And going back to what we were saying, buy creatives for creatives. We understand it. Bella edits. She does projects on the side. Other people within the company also are actual producers and editors and camera people. And we built this company in that structure that we actually are doing this. We actually understand what it's like to produce content. And that was always really important to me from the beginning of starting this company.
Man, you know what you said there that's kind of amazing is the fact that you can scale it because you're definitely right. There's months where, hey, everything is you're singing, you're whistling on your way to work, like like one of the seven dwarfs. But then all of a sudden, the next month comes by, you finished all your projects, and you're like, hey, man, we're gonna have to get water out of the faucet this month. Like it's just one of those things. It happens in the creative business all the time. So being able to scale is cool. I think it's amazing, Bella, that you're doing the customer success as a new editor because you will have insights for people that are also just starting out. And I think that it gives everyone a fantastic opportunity to learn and grow as you're learning and growing as well. I tell my people all the time, no matter what you're teaching, don't think you have to be you don't have to be Penny Marshall. More people want to follow you because you're starting now, and I feel like I'm understanding where you are. I can catch it with you. You know where I am at and how I'm feeling at the same time. Whereas if I'm talking to Penny Marshall, I just feel like I got to come in and kiss the ring and not really be able to add stuff to it. So I think it's great that you are learning this. Uh, the editing process at the same time you're helping people get into Alteon. To me, that is one of the best things. Matt, I don't know if it was your idea, but that was really one of the best things that you could possibly do is have Bella doing customer success. So, yeah. Okay, Bella, I'm going to ask you another question. When it comes to just starting out, what would be some of the first 3 steps you would suggest someone take?
When it comes to editing
With Alteon.
with Alteon. Basically, the best way to learn about Alteon, I would say, is just kind of a step-by-step workflow that works best for you. So I kind of plan it out based on, all right, I'm going to upload all my footage first. I'm going to figure out how to do that because then I'm going to have access to all of it. I can go through all of it, add customizable metadata tags, add time-coded comments, and just get completely organized before starting the process. So that's kind of like, if you want to make it fun, pre-production, that kind of thing. And then I would download the NLEs for Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro, whichever you prefer. And pretty soon we're going to have DaVinci Resolve as well. So we're really excited about that. And once you have those downloaded, you can get started editing. You can, now that you're reorganized with everything in there, you can just start editing by pulling it down back up to the cloud. And then after that, I would say the third step would be review and approval for collaboration as well. So after that, you can even check in your timeline to Alteon, whatever you've been working on, send that to your collaborators, send that to your clients, whoever you need to, and use those time-coded comments to go back and forth and have a successful product in the end.
That is really cool. All right, we have a question. Again, Mr. David. David wants to know, can 2 people work on the same file at the same time and see edits in real time, or is that something different?
So we're kind of going back into the days of locking bins and different structures there. I would say right now, no. It's very much still so hard because of the different editing applications that we're working with. We are trying to work closely with Apple, for instance, on Final Cut Pro to be able to have libraries, which they're actually changing the names. They've gotten sane again, and they're putting a lot of innovation into Final Cut Pro, and they're going to start calling them projects, which is what they really are. And they're going to start calling timelines. So you'll see that in the upcoming iPad release that they've actually changed the naming convention for iPad, and I'm assuming that they're going to be rolling that out to Final Cut desktop users in the near future. There are some aspects to it that we are limited on just based on the different companies that we're working with that make the software. So it's a lot of just trying to figure things out that's not hacky, but that would be the ultimate holy grail to be able to see if I'm editing something and Bella is editing something at the same time. for us to be able to sync those edits. I will say DaVinci does have something similar to that function right now, where if we were editing on something, you can actually share that edit back and forth, and you can see edits that other people are making. So I would expect that Adobe and Apple will both start to think about integrating that, and if they don't do it, we are certainly working hard to come up with a solution there.
Very good. Actually, and it is a very complicated thing. Even David, just so you know, even in Google Docs, where you can see Anonymous Panda editing the same line you're editing, there's a lot that goes into that happening with conflict resolution and things like that. Like if we both in Google Docs highlight the exact same paragraph at the exact same time and start typing, up until recently, that would just ruin it. Like so, it sounds easy, but it's not easy. But you know what? It is not easy to do that. And if we had the editing machine right in front of us and we were sitting at the same table, it's impossible. Not even that it's hard, it's impossible. So that is, in a way, we're generating something out of whole cloth that doesn't exist in the real space. And that makes it different because, again, the internet timings and all of that, it is a very difficult process, just so you understand that. But where it does work in handy is the ability to be like, okay, I am going to tackle the intro, you tackle the outro, and then keep your notes in there. So I'll look at it as you're moving. You can look at mine as we're moving. We can collaborate on notes in the middle, and then we'll start to tackle, chapter 1 or chapter 2. So
Yeah,
in those particular cases, quicker.
You're spot on with your approach there. And honestly, even the most sophisticated Avid systems that I used to work on for NBC Network, we would be crashing edits for nightly news. And I would say, hey, I'm going to take up to this soundbite. You take everything else. So I'll take, minute 0 to 45 seconds. You take 45 seconds to a minute 30. And that was just how we would naturally communicate within our little edit group that we would be in to crash on a nightly spot. And that's how we got around with it. Again, using the most sophisticated equipment at the time, and then also being in the same server environment. So it is really kind of difficult. It's a tough nut to crack, but it's something that we're certainly doing a lot of R&D on right now.
Yeah. I appreciate where you come from, because one of the things I'm forever screaming to the community, you know how I just made that scene and put all three of us on and, make a whole new Chiron at the bottom and everything. What I just did by myself in the beginning of this show would have been a team of 5 people screaming at the EP because why didn't you tell me this ahead of time? It's going to take me some time. I got to get Mike out of the break room to run the Chiron. Like, this was multi-million dollars worth of equipment and 5-6 people, and we could do this by ourselves now. So to me, I think that's fantastic. But because I come from doing it the hard way, I always get irritated when people who are new to this say, well, how come Apple didn't do this? I'm like, do you have any idea how hard it is to do what you just said? We're lucky that it's easy for us now, but the amount of work it takes to get these things to happen that we do just like every day now is pretty funny to me because, again, the cabling alone was millions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, it's that democratization that we're seeing across the board in the entire production industry. And I just think about the camera formats that we have now. I mean, I can shoot 4K on iPhone and it looks really good. It's amazing, the quality of that. And so when I think about a 4K camera that I bought 4 or 5 years ago and the cost of that and what I had to buy from a lens perspective in order to get a specific look out of it, look, I mean, we're really at an advanced stage, and I'm personally just excited to see where we're going leveraging internet bandwidth coming up soon. Yes. Right? Like you're starting to see studios and broadcasters have their switcher or the person that's switching a live event at home doing something, and they're just getting feeds from cameras that are at the actual stadium. So we're seeing this huge shift happen, and I think that it's important for all of us to, again, recognize what's actually going on behind the scenes. And we are rapidly increasing our pace of technology and where we're going with what we can leverage and what we have exposure to.
That is really cool. So Luis is our producer for our podcast. Don't get any ideas, Luis. I know you're close to Disney down there in Florida. You're not allowed to leave. You have to stay here, okay? Because you're right. You got Dante engineers running sound from nowhere near the event, because like I could run an entire 128 channel mixer board from another version of that mixer board completely off site over the net. Kind of crazy, right? We're at a very unique time. Okay, now during NAB, you guys got, blessed with knighthood because of your file size and just overall design of the app. You want to touch on that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that it's evident that a lot of our peer companies that were out there at NAB last year and this year are companies that had legacy products that then said, hey, let's build something on this new invention called the cloud. And we're very fortunate in the sense that we're coming into it with no baggage. We're a brand new product of a year old now, and we really were cloud first. The other thing that we have as an advantage is that we weren't taking something that was on-prem and managing content on a server in my office, and then trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I make this as a multi-tenant environment for lots of people and put it on the cloud, right? So that was our mindset going into this from the beginning. And also, I want to point out the fact that we started this company in December of 2019. So again, before COVID.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, I mean, it was really kind of the perfect storm for us because we knew we would have a 5-year uphill battle getting into this platform. And when we sort of set out to build it, when we set out to do this, we had the overall thesis or understanding of where the production industry could be going. And we're now seeing that happen. And for better or for worse, COVID really sped up a lot of innovation because of the necessity that was there for us all to be working remotely. And we're not seeing that go away by any means.
All right. And so you kind of mentioned it, and I just want to make sure I cover it in case anybody's watching this on the replay or even somebody in the audience. What would you say is your USP in comparison to things like Frame?
Yeah, I mean, look, Frame is great if you just want a review and approval software. There are thousands of assets that take up a 2-minute edit. Where are all those 2,000 assets being stored before you get to the final edit? Frame wasn't built with the design process in mind of handling lots of files and managing lots of storage and handling proxies and doing all of these other things. They use a lot of third-party applications or software in order to build a lot of their application. And again, they're great at what they do. They really were solving, though, a problem of 2016 when they were started. We're solving the problems that we're seeing today. And again, think about the bandwidth, right? A lot of us now starting to have 1 gig fiber lines for $75 a month on their local ISP, right? I mean, that's incredible. But thinking about that from a 2016 perspective when Frame was built, night and day, right? That would have cost you $50,000 a month. You'd have to trench a line just to get to your office in order to have that fiber line. So because of that, because of 5G, because of the resolutions of cameras that we're seeing right now, again, there needs to be a new way of thinking, and Alteon really is in that approach.
Oh, you just gave me an idea. I just had an idea. Okay, so we're about to do this thing, Creator Camp. And we're having 100 of our creators meet us at our headquarters in Massachusetts. And we're going to have 5 teams of 5. And we're going to be running around learning various processes in the creator space. And then, of course, generating a metric ton of content. Now, from a company standpoint, I'm always wanting to generate FOMO for the next event. So that way people who sat on the fence during this sign up don't sit on the fence the next time we do an event. So I can give an Alteon login to people from different teams, and say, upload your assets from today. So you're running around with your phone and you're shooting,
I'll
cool
actually make it.
stuff.
I'll make it one step simpler for you. We developed something called a non-user upload, and if anyone out there in the web can come up with a cooler branding for us, please do. But essentially, if I'm not even a user of Alteon, the editor or the producer or somebody working in the production can send an email out to groups of people and say, hey, use this one link to upload files into Alteon. Again, they don't have to have an Alteon account. They receive this link. They can now upload all that footage to Alteon. And the reason for that would be, let's say I'm working with a sound guy today. I don't want to have to give that sound guy access or pay for his account or her account to go to Alteon. I can send them a link. They click on that link. They drag their audio files in from their mixer. And now, poof, it's in the project that I said that I wanted it to go into. So now everything's encapsulated. Everything's really organized. And I'm going to hit on one more fact there. We were talking about this earlier, and you just mentioned it, right? You want to create content after the fact. You want to create content that is sort of recapping the event, right?
Right. This is like UGC, but at a even cooler scale because it's on focus.
So think about this, though. On those months that you are down in the sense of you don't have a lot of work going on, you're a freelancer, you're a production company. I used to do this at my production company all the time. This is a really great hack that we did. We were super organized on all of our content, and we would overshoot when we were with clients purposefully because we're there for a whole day. Why not, right? You ask a couple extra sound bites of an executive. You go shoot a bunch of extra B-roll. Those months that you're down or you don't have a lot of work, I would always know that in advance, and I would go to my clients and say, hey, for an extra $1,000 or $2,000, I will have an entirely new edit for you based on that production that we did a month or two ago that you spent $50,000 on. And they'd scratch their head and they'd say, well, how can you do that for $1,000 or $2,000? And I'd say, look, you already bought the content. It's yours. It's just organized in a very slick way on our side. So we would have editors on their downtime during that month go and edit multiple versions of something. And again, it was using fresh content that hadn't ever been seen before. And that's all because of the organization process that we had. And now you can leverage Alteon to do that same thing.
Dan, look, Dan wins today. Dan says, you already have the name. It's a new user. It's a play on words. Okay, Dan.
I think we need to give him a free user account or something for that.
That's actually good. It's a new user. It reminds me of Gary Gnu. I don't know. You got Bella, you're definitely way too young for Gary Gnu, but Matt, you might have caught the tail end of that. The Great Space Coaster. That was one of the kind of like Kermit the Frog type guys, but his name was Gary Gnu. That is actually cool. You mentioned something important. I just put it in the chat for everyone. People, please always overshoot because, yes, you can make some really cool extra content, promotional content and stuff later with all of that extra footage. So, so this is perfect. And it's funny because my moderator, Paul, and Luis, who's probably the one who's going to have to edit it once we put all this stuff there, they both had the exact same thought I had about having people capture and collect these assets. And again, like you said, with apps like Frame and other apps of like that nature, you don't want to be sending in, files that aren't going to be necessarily used to do something like this. This way, you can collect things in buckets, and then with the various buckets, you can put them where they go. So I can have buckets for people using it for education, buckets for those using it for fitness, bucket for those using it for like cooking or how-tos or whatever, and then just generate clips off of that. Yes, Mr. Matt.
We have a political client right now that's using it or was using it and in the last election. And basically the idea was they have people that are on the ground, volunteers, and they're going door to door and knocking on people's doors and saying, hey, will you vote for Susie Joe for mayor or whatever it is, right? They send out links in advance in that morning to all the different volunteers and say, hey, when you're on the ground, shoot with your iPhone a quick 5-10 second, hey, I want to vote for Susie Joe for mayor. And they capture it on their iPhone, upload that using a non-user link or an NUU, right? And now those people are uploading using a one single click, boom, it's up onto the cloud, and their editors are actually editing Instagram and Facebook clips before all the volunteers are done with the neighborhood for the day. So it's really speeding up that process.
That's so good. That's so good. I mean, just the amount of people out here trying to figure out, things that are going on. So, all right, let's get down to the brass tacks. We want to wrap this up. Normally, when we do these master classes, we like to offer you guys some sort of perk that will end up in our Ecamm fam channel. And first of all, remember, you can start today for free, right? And then, if I remember correct, I got to use my weird glasses. I remember correct, membership was like $12 for pro if you got into something a little bit more beefy, right? Oh, you could just
So
adjust accordingly.
yeah, I mean, free users get access to everything that paid users would have. And that was really important to me because I hate it when I go and try something and they always say, "Oh yeah, you can have something as a free trial and then you have to pay in order to see anything behind the scenes." So everything for Alteon is free for 10 gigs of storage. So again, that's just limited, just enough to sort of dip your toe in the water. But then from there, it's $12 a month for full access and sharing. So I can share files or I can share projects with other users. And also it gives me 250 gigs of storage with that $12 a month. So even that, you can build a little commercial or a little bit of social media content on that if you wish. And then from there, it's based on storage consumption.
Yes.
So I can add a terabyte of storage for $25 and continue growing from there. And as I pointed out before, we have an archive tier for $6 a month. So I might have a lot of content on my full version today, and then next month I downgrade to and push everything out to archive, and now I'm only paying $12 plus $6 per terabyte.
Yes,
It's actually really simple pricing.
I really like that. Now, just in case somebody looks at this later, because I'm going to be the one to get the text. Doc, what's Nearline? So I don't want to have to type it 1,000 times. I know what it is. Can you explain it to them?
So our Nearline, it's sort of something that I used to use at my old production company, where instead of keeping everything really on my expensive servers, I would push it out to a single computer or RAID that was connected to a computer or an external hard drive. And it was this ability to have the expensive storage still being utilized by the whole company. And then those projects that I'm waiting on client approval for, which we've all had, where it's, hey, I will get back to you today, but then it's a month later. Instead of sitting on that expensive storage for a month or 2 months, or if you're producing a documentary, you might be spending 6 or 7 months or a year. We've had some users on it. You want to push it off to a little bit less expensive storage. It's $5 a month less than our online tier, but that adds up, especially if
Yes.
you're utilizing several terabytes there. And then the other thing that I would encourage people to do is just push it to archive. The archive tier, it's still in its same intact structure, and you would have access to it, but in 12 hours. So again, that's a limitation not based on us, it's based on our cloud provider, which is IBM. And that's something where if you wanted to go from your deep cold storage and bring it back online, you would maybe know about this in the afternoon. You hit, send it or push it to online. And then once it's pushed to online 12 hours later, you come back the next morning, it's all there for you.
There you go. There you go. So now nobody text me and ask me, because we definitely used to do this. You guys know this in your head. You just don't realize you know it. Okay, so we have these SSDs that we get that are fast, right? So for instance, a SanDisk SSD is only like space for like 1 terabyte. You got it from Costco for $150, but it's really quick. You can completely edit off of that. But you got these MyBooks that you bought, which will give you 8 terabytes for the same price, but you can't edit off of them. They're too slow. And then you have, things where you're going to like leave it on tapes or whatever and in the cabinet. So that would be like your cold storage. And then your slow drive would be your nearline storage, and your fast drive is what you're working on. Same exact process. We're just doing it in the cloud. And only thing is I got rid of all those MyBooks and got a Synology because it's quick. But it's primarily
It's a great system. Yeah,
it's the same concept, really. So I'm glad you ran through that for people. Man, this is really cool. People, I'm going to suggest that you go and sign up. Hold on, Bella. Did you make a coupon code for these Ken folks over here? Wait, let me unmute you. Okay.
I don't have one at this time, but we'll work on it right away.
All right. We'll get it out there for you. We'll get it out there for you fine. And then, Paul has this one, though. Paul says use Ecamm 2023. That works. All right, cool. If you're a first-time user and you redeem it before June the 3rd, it seems like that's far away, people. That's like 2 weeks. I'm getting my head around how fast.
Where has the year gone?
Right? It's like we're almost halfway there. July 2nd is halfway day, and it's really been just moving right along. We're getting so much things done. All right, so I am going to challenge you guys to go out there, play with this, send each other invites to see, footage or upload footage as a new user. Like ask your friends to send you things and just get a chance to play around. I know how to reach Bella. So I'm sure you can just send her an email or what's the best socials for you guys, Bella?
Yeah, we use Instagram as our main one, I would say.
Me too. Instagram is the best. All right,
and
King,
I'm pretty heavily active on LinkedIn, and if anyone wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn, please feel free.
That was such a CEO move there, Matt. I'm just joking. I've been doing a lot of work on LinkedIn recently because I think, especially for those of us who are getting into this business, and there's so many people that are being forced to generate content now, and they don't know where to begin. You might think you're beginning. You're far above all of the people on LinkedIn getting told every day by people like me that they have to generate content in order to move their business, and they don't know where to start. So you could offset your costs for all of this amazing storage by just doing what Bella is doing or what Luis is doing and helping other people edit, because they're starting from bupkis, like absolutely nothing. And LinkedIn is a very good place to hide out for that kind of stuff. Man, this has been amazing.
I really appreciate your time. And thank you guys all for the
play.
questions.
Yes. Let's see. Dan said, great session. Looking forward to trying this out. So, Dan, now you know. I think this is really cool. It's going to make everybody's job easier. Yes, go ahead.
And I would say definitely reach out to support@alteon.io if you have any questions, or if you want to book a session with Bella or Noah, our customer success team. They're always around, and they also do twice a week live training sessions. So every week they choose another topic and they go out there and they post it online. So those are really great to watch as well.
That's cool. Where are your live training sessions, Bella?
LinkedIn.
Okay. People? Enjoy this. Thank you guys. Aloha so much for coming on. This has been fantastic. Don't forget, Paul has put the link in the chat for you. Go to alteon.io and get in there and start creating some cool content. Send me a link. I'll upload a picture of, I don't know, something from the beach. I'll go across the street and send you guys a picture. Aloha, guys. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Coming straight out of Ecamm. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam for the Ecamm.